Hey, so today we're gonna do a soft glam neutrals white sort of eyeshadow look. It's gonna be very soft, it's gonna be very simple, and it's gonna be very quick. So I'm gonna just start with that now. How I'm gonna start is with my skin tone bronzer. I use it to dust things off or just add a bit more color in my face where I need to. It's this color. I've had it for way too long, probably longer than I should have. It's 06 by Body Shop. A fluffy brush, so it's just a random size. It is an eyeshadow brush. And what I'm gonna start with is adding definition into my eyes, because with this makeup look, I wanna have a facelift kind of appearance. Get a little bit, not too much. And I wanna make her like a crease, like a wing almost, just to add a natural contour. So I don't know if you can see the difference, but that's gonna have a lot more depth than that. And I'm gonna do it to the same, to the other eye. It's just gonna help with the facelift stuff. It's not even gonna be a part of the eyeshadow look as such. Now, the next stage is I'm gonna use the same color to put some depth into my eyeshadow crease. This will make it easier for the eyeshadow shades to transition, as well as just, it will look more uniform. So above my crease and then into it. So I'm gonna go kind of, but I'm gonna focus on doing a rounded shape. So if I wanna build this shape of a shadow, I do the wind wipers or swiping motion. But if I actually wanna, you know, pack on colors and blend out, I use circular motions. So now that's enough, in my opinion. Hopefully it shows up, but I can see it. You know, just that wind wiper motion. If you have a magnified mirror, this is great because it will really help. Now I'm gonna blend a little bit upwards. But that's for the crease and the definition. This is for like contour purposes rather than the actual look. So don't worry too much about this bit. I wanna get a small blending brush. So you want it to be rounded but small. This one is perfect. It's gonna get the job done. For the colors, I wanna get an orange. I'm gonna use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Jackieaina. She's got these. They look lovely. I'm gonna use the ginger shade. It's like a orange, but it's not too orangey. It's like a dull orange. Perfect for making a sort of ombre with browns and neutrals. And the way I'm gonna put this one is, I'm gonna blend it outwards, but I'm gonna start from the crease, so like slightly above it. I'm gonna pack it on in a rounded fashion. Like that. And I'm gonna go back downwards to keep that roundedness. And then now, to build the shape, the wind wipers, and then to blend it outwards, I'm gonna just use circular motions. And that's the shape. Because of the look I'm doing today, I want to add white here. So I'm going to try not go too close to that region because I'm not going to be doing a full-on cut crease. So yeah, now I've kind of put that on. I'm going to do the same to the other eye. Some people like to work on one eye, then go to the next. But actually, sometimes I forget the little steps that I do. So I like to do each step on each eye and then move on. See, I've already gotten messy, which is kind of annoying. But it's fine. It's also good to use the eyeshadow mirrors that they give you as well, because it's a nice mirror size. It allows you to focus on, you know, the eyeshadow. This has really built up, but this one hasn't. I'm gonna mirror the other eye because it's darker, and in this instance I'm gonna be going darker anyway, so it's not an issue. With the fluffy brush that I had the transition color on, so basically nothing, I'm gonna blend up to almost to the eyebrow and that's gonna diffuse the colors, make it look less solid and less harsh. The more eyeshadow brushes you have, the better, but I'm gonna try keep it as minimal as possible. But this is why you need to be very careful if you're a beginner or you're not really great with eyeshadow. I know it's definitely not my forte in terms of makeup. It's probably my least favorite thing to do. I love how it looks, but I'm such a plain person, and naturally I just don't have as much practice as other makeup artists. I mean, I can do it, but and I always check the magnified mirror. You know, checking it's kind of the same height, everything's kind of diffused to the same depth. I don't want to use any of these colors from the Jackieaina, so I'm actually going to swap palettes. There is a palette you can do this with. You can just use the Morphe 15D palette if you just want to use one, or if you don't have enough browns and you need to buy something but you don't want to buy all of these palettes for such, you know, irrelevant colors. Oh gosh, all the glitter just goes everywhere with the Amrezy palette. Go into 1988. So it's that brown shade there. Yeah, I hope I'm pointing to it. I'm going to use that. I'm going to go into the crease. I'm not going to blend around. I'm just going to mark it out for now. So again, just the crease. And I'm going to go around. So right now I'm just focusing on the shape. I'm not going to blend it out yet. There we go. And I'm going to mimic the same. I need to be careful because with this eye it just always ends up in the wrong place. Okay, there we go. Got it sketched out. They're both got the same amount of darkness. Now I'm going to use the brush that I put the orangey kind of shade in. I'm gonna blend that out. The wind wipers. I'm not gonna blend downwards because that's gonna be covered up to an extent, and I don't want to bring that down too much. That wind wiper motion is very great in this instance. And I'm going to use the brush that had the bronzer to blend around the edges. You know, it's better to overblend than underblend because you don't want anything to be patchy or mix match. I want a deeper brown. Again, you can use the same palette, but I just like using different palettes. The more you have, I feel like the more you should salvage your options. They've got a dark brown in the Amrezy palette that I could use, but it's too like almost purpley reddish. I want something that's a bit more stone. So I'm going to use Desert in the 15D Morphe palette. And it's a very similar colour, but it's just less ready. And the one that we used the orange with, blend, blend, blend. And then I'm going to practically use the naked brush again, and I'm going to go over everything because that is dark enough for this look. And then I'm going to check with the magnified mirror that I like the transition. See, I'm seeing it could be a bit more smoother, but I'm not too worried about the bits that are going to be kind of semi-covered, but I'm actually more or less happy. Oh gosh, I hope I wasn't covering everything. The main event, oh gosh, the brush I wanted to use has gold on it. What a deal breaker. It'll be fine. I'm going to get a white shade or something that's very close to white. I don't have much, but I've got this Christmas palette from Too Faced. It's got this kind of one called Cream Filling. It's the closest to white. And I'm gonna, almost like I'm cutting a crease, I'm gonna draw over it. It doesn't need to be too heavy because I'm putting a pigment over it. This is almost to just sketch it out and give it a bit more of a base. I don't need to pack on the pigment. And I'm also using a very thick eyeshadow. So yeah, it doesn't look great, but again, it's just kind of as a base. Same on the other eye. Now, I just want to make sure it's not getting a bit like too wide. I'm going to go over with the brown and like cup it back in to make it lower. There was also a glittery white shade called Snowflake. I'm going to use that. The reason why I'm not using, there's like a white in the Jackieaina or the Amrezy one. I'm not using that because it's not as thick. See, as you can see, this one is very thick. Very pretty colour in my opinion. I don't want to go too crazy with it. I just want to give it that subtle white look. I really, really love it. And there we go. I think that's more than enough actually. Because again, I am using a pigment which is the exact same colour, but it's just going to be a bit more glittery. Okay, maybe a bit more. Again, blending that downwards so it doesn't get too big and so it stays very diffused looking, which is what I want for this look. I'm going to tap into my pigment, which is Reflects Pearls by MAC. And one thing I'll tell you about with pigments, I noticed that the quality doesn't really differ that much with brand. Like some makeup products, I think, you know what, you kind of need the more expensive ones sometimes. This isn't one of those products. So this is very pretty. I don't want to use too much. Oh, so pretty. Oh my god, I'm in love with this look already and I haven't even finished it. Do the same with the other eye. I don't want to use too much because it almost has that sort of silver appearance and I don't want a silver appearance. At all. Oh gosh, that's so pretty. I love it. I'm not going all the way down because I'm going to add eyeliner. I'm in love. And I'm putting a lot more closer to the inner corners. Let me just check that looks like even with how it's distributed. No, this one looks like it needs a bit more. Okay, great. That is actually great. And this is why I don't do foundation first, because it just allows you to be so much more quicker and you just get on with it. You don't have to worry about, you know, having to be so clean with it. Again, the one that had the deepest brown, or that we kept on blending the browns with, I'm going to do the same with the outside. I'm going to keep the pigment lying around for like final kind of touches, and I'm also going to leave the eyeshadow palette with the white close to hand. I'm going to quickly do eyeliner. I'm sure you've all seen me do it, so I'm not going to go into too much depth. And I'm just going to do it very quickly, sorry. If you go downwards at like the same angle, it usually like turns out the same. Like when you drag it down, if you do it that way, it kind of ends up the same most of the time. I'm gonna smoke out the liner just because I feel like it. So the way I smoke a liner is I kind of go along it. Oh. And then I use the eyeshadow. I'm not going to smoke it that much towards the inner corners. And then what you can do is just get an eyeshadow brush that I used the dark one on to kind of go over it. It's not going to do too much. I like how it looks. I have to do it a couple of times. I'm going to blend that outwards. And I aim down. And I make sure I'm happy with the placement before I start attaching it to the lash. I want a black inner corner, so I'm going to go in with my Zoeva pencil, if I can find her. No, you're not supposed to do this apparently, but I'm going to just drag it.